All right, welcome in, everybody. It is the high noon edition of Pugs and Company. We do the high noon edition every Monday through Friday, starting at noon, and then we go to about 2 o'clock. Then, of course, we rally back 10 o'clock, Sunday through Thursday, for what we call the Pillow Talk edition. So, once again, recapping. We do 2 hours every Monday through Friday from noon until 2 o'clock. And then we do another show at night, Sunday nights through Thursday evenings. We call that the Pillow Talk edition. Hold on a second. I don't know if that was a text or what. Y'all hear that, right? Yeah, you do. I just realized it's plugged in, so it went through. Okay, so here's what we got going on today. Not a whole hell of a lot, man. We've got a little bit different show for you planned here. I'm going to be doing it alone today. And that's not true. It's possible that James Parker could pop in because he just pops in whenever he can. E is busy doing dad stuff. He's got some school function that he's involved in with his son, his young 9-year-old son. And so it's just me going through what we always do here on High Noon, which is we filter through the trending topics, anything that people are talking about. You know the rap. Gotta be honest with you, though. I don't know if maybe it's the weather. I don't know if, I told you yesterday was a particularly dark anniversary for me. And I had a kind of a rough night's sleep. Wasn't good. I don't want to get into the whole depression or fall blahs because I've stated a million times that I love fall. I do love fall. But man, there's something weird going on with me mentally, and I'm not crazy. I'm not like that. It's just, I don't know. We seem to be in an era now where people are being encouraged to discuss their mental states. And I'm just letting y'all know, I'm not, I could probably do a comedy marathon this afternoon. That might get me out of it. Maybe watch a bunch of Mel Brooks movies or something. But it's just, it's odd. And, it's strange because I just had an interaction on Twitter with an old friend of mine concerning a story that is trending that I guess we're going to talk about. And my old friend Opie, you guys remember Opie and Anthony and all of them. He made a comment about the Pete Buttigieg. Am I saying that right? Buttigieg or whatever. Transportation secretary. Guy ran for president. He's mayor of South Bend, former Navy pilot. I don't know, whatever he is. He's a military guy. Gay, involved in a he's got a baby now with his husband, and he's trending because he's taking paternity leave, and a lot of people are criticizing Secretary Buttigieg because we're apparently in a transportation crisis in this country, and he's going on paternity, maternity. I don't even know what the proper way to frame that is. But my old friend Opie, he just tweeted something that said, in regard to that story, is there anything wrong with me? Because I just think this is weird. And I sit back to him. I go, no, man, everything's weird now. I don't feel bad. Everything in this world is weird now. And I'm just tired of it. I'm just tired of everything being weird. Can we get back to some semblance of normalcy? And by the way, this is the mental state talking right now. I'm not being Mr. Up and Mr. Happy. I'm just, I think I've always tried to be as wearing the emotions and wearing my sensibility and my mental state on my sleeve, right? I don't think I've ever really hid that. But God, I woke up and I looked at everything that is trending and all the stories that are, here to talk about. And it's all just blah. I'll give you an example. I'll tell you, this is why I say this might be a little different show today. we'll just I'll just run through quickly. I mean, there's a couple things that we'll talk about. Don't worry about it. We're gonna get into everything that you need to know. But man, just here, okay, I'm just gonna pull up just as an example here. I'll pull up what's happening, what's trending on Twitter, and I'll just show you why everything is just blah today. Trending number one is Animal Crossing. The hell is Animal Crossing? Can anybody explain? I guess it's a game. It's trending number one. This is the thing that the most people on Twitter are talking about right now. A video game, Animal Crossing. Two is Zach Ertz. Okay, that's kind of interesting. I did enjoy last night watching Hurts to Ertz. That's kind of fun. Jalen Hurts, of course, the quarterback of the Philadelphia Eagles, and Zach Ertz, the tight end for the Philadelphia Eagles. Not anymore. That's why he's trending. The Eagles traded Zach Ertz to the Cardinals for a cornerback and a 5th round pick. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. So I briefly enjoyed Hurts to Ertz last night. I thought some there, but no. Also trending to You season 3. You see what I mean? There's just nothing of substance. There's nothing to dig into today. You season 3. Apparently You is a show on Netflix that I am completely unfamiliar with. I don't know what it is, but season 3 is now available, so have at it if that's your thing. And now we get into this stuff that just makes me mad. It doesn't make me mad, but it just irritates me. Yesterday, it was trending all over. Everybody was talking about Jiminin. Yeah, that's how it's spelled. Jiminin. Jiminin. Jiminin, I believe is the spelling. Jiminin. Jiminin. He is a member of BTS because we can't allow a day to go by without 70% of the people on the social networks talking about this Korean boy band, BTS. Has there ever been a bigger band in the world? I have never seen. Now, right now, I'm hearing James Parker's voice in my ear, and it's a wise voice, at least in this regard. The social platforms are not real life. They're not. These are people who behave in ways that hopefully they don't behave in real life, but they behave in just, like alter egos and things that are happening and opinions that are expressed and the ways of the world that are shown on the social networks, whether it's Facebook or Twitter, Instagram, whatever it is that you choose. They're just not the real world. So, I mean, I can go out in public and talk to 1,000 people today, and not one of them will mention Jungkook. That's the one who's trending today. Yesterday it was Jimin, and then today it's Jungkook. I don't know why. It says, by the way, the fans of BTS, I think that's boys that sing. I don't even know. They're the South Korean boy band that is the biggest band the world has ever known. They're called ARMY. They're called BTS ARMY. ARMY reacts to a video of Jungkook watching Taehyung play with his Doberman. It's the number 4 thing trending in the world today. Like I said, I can go out and talk to 1,000 people today in real life, IRL, as the kids say. I could go out and not one of them will even know what the hell I'm talking about. Yet, we need to find a better way to do these topics, because I'm telling you. Also trending today, Friday morning, hashtag Friday morning, wisdom and inspiration and coffee for your Friday morning. I guess that's nice. Nothing that I can really make hay of here. Young Thug is trending. More music. See, nothing of substance. Young Thug is trending because he's released a new album. And now we get into all the politically divisive stuff. Let me jump right in here. We'll talk but you know what? Today I think I might interact with a lot of people here in the chat room, because honestly, what are we going to talk about? Bare shelves Biden? Yeah, that's trending. Hashtag bare shelves Biden. Apparently there is nothing available in any store anywhere, and it's the current president's fault. Trending right behind that, Trump golden showers. See what I mean? I don't want to go into all this stuff. Look, I would love to be able to spend 20 minutes talking about the former president who got up in front of a bunch of donors and unprompted, just started talking about how he doesn't like to have women pee on him. But I can't talk about it because we're all so sensitive about these issues. I don't want people to be like, you hate Trump. Why don't you talk about Bear Shells Biden? See, I don't want to talk about either of those things. Those things are both just such garbage topics. Although the golden showers thing's kind of funny. I mean, if it was anybody else, I'd spend a whole show talking about golden showers. I just don't want to do it in this regard. All right, let's jump into about Rick Bradley, my old friend Rick Bradley. He said, "Believe me, I understand, buddy. I'm going through anxiety right now as I speak." Adam Reyna, my old friend Adam, he's helping me out with the pronunciation of Pete Buttigieg. He says it's boot edge. Okay, I got that. Rick also says, I started watching Billions last night. Oh my God, you're right. The show is awesome. Now, Billions, I can spend an hour talking about Billions. I just wrapped up season 5 recently. Billions is awesome. But I got none of the guys that I do the show with watch any TV. So it's like I can't. Emil's watched like 3 shows in his life. James Parker's got 15 kids. He doesn't have time to watch anything on TV. Yet he seems to have time to delve back into 25-year-old episodes of Seinfeld. But okay, that's something. It's something. Beggars can't be choosers. Billions is a show on Showtime. Stars Damian Lewis. He's Paul Giamatti. And who else is in it now? Corey Stoll is in this season. Corey Stoll's in the last couple of. Corey Stoll, who played Junior Soprano in the Sopranos movie, he was also the star of a show called The Strain. He's awesome. Corey Stoll's an awesome actor, and he's very good in this season of Billions as the primary show's about billionaires, about how billionaires do their day. You know, about how billionaires walk this earth and what it's like being a billionaire, and it's fascinating. Seems pretty cool. Although I got a problem with anyone being a billionaire. I really do. As a matter of fact, I've ended friendships over my take on billionaires. I think anybody that... See, I don't go into this because now it's going to be like, oh, no, now who's being weird? You're being weird. You don't want $1 billion? No. I think if you got $1 billion, you're living life wrong. If you got $1 billion in your bank account, you're not a good person. You're not really helping out. I mean, you either agree that there is a income disparity in this world and you're going to do your best to try and make sure that the have-nots can be at least competitive, or you're just hoarding money. And I think billionaires are hoarding money. And I don't have a problem with, well, if they earned it, they should be able to keep. Of course, hard work, capitalism. I'm a capitalist. I believe in that. You work hard and you earn money. You should be able to enjoy the spoils of your hard work, your brilliant ideas, your innovations, whatever they are. But at some point, I just get sick to my stomach. I'm not a man of faith. I was raised Catholic, but I am not Catholic. I am not necessarily Christian, although I do believe that Jesus was the greatest man to ever walk the earth. His influence is indisputable. I mean, so I tell my son, I'm more a Jesus guy than a Christian because I like the things that Jesus had to say. I like his teachings. I just don't. I'm just not down with the mob. You know, I'm just not down with the. Okay, so this could be an interesting show because I could actually spin out and start saying some things that I don't want to really get into. But I don't think that Jesus, the man, would be cool with billionaires. I just don't. I don't think Jesus would ever be a billionaire. I think that Jesus might have enough to live a comfortable life, but he'd use that money. He'd put that money to work for him in ways that are, a little bit more good for the world at large. Now I probably sound like a freaking Christian. Or not a Christian, but now I sound like some sort of liberal spread it around. Pugs wants to disperse all the wealth of the world. No, I really don't. I don't want people to be forced to give up their money. I want people to want to give up their money. I want people to want to spend their money, their stashes of cash, their giant piles of gold. I would love for them to spend that on making the world a better place. But I guess that's a pussy liberal view. And I've never hid what I am. I consider myself a moderate. I'm not far left. I think people that burn down SUV dealerships because of the environment are freaking crap minded idiots. I think that people that stormed the Capitol on the 6th are the same variety of crap minded idiots. I just think that they're all somewhere in the middle. Most of us are in the middle. And where I find myself in the middle is I'd really just like the world to be made a better place. I'd like there not to be hungry kids. I'd like there not to be people living in the street. But all right, go on for this. All right, let me go back into some of these before I completely spin off. Maybe you guys in the chat room can help me out here. Let me see here. All right, so we talked a little bit about that. Steve, what's up, Steve? Steve Eaton. Yeah, he's always first in. Wasn't first in today, though, Steve. But he's always with a happy what's up. I really appreciate that. The good energy coming from Steve is always appreciated. Mr. Dookie Pie says $1 billion makes you an asshole. Okay. I'm guessing that's a statement from Mr. Dookie Pie because there is no question mark. Yeah, I think that if you're a billionaire and you're not putting that money to work to make the world a better place, that you probably are a bit of an asshole. And as I say this, the sun starts to come out on this otherwise gray day. Looking out my window now. Mr. Dookie Pie also says that being a Jesus guy makes you a Christian. Question mark. See, now that's a question. There you go. I get that one. No, I'm a Jesus fan. How about that? I'm a Jesus stan. There you go. That's it. I'm not necessarily a Christian, but I like what the guy said. I like what the guy stood for. I like what I interpret the guy's message to be. Which, by the way, growing up Catholic, I do not think that nuns, in my experience, necessarily adhere to the messages of Jesus. I had some mean nuns. Every Catholic has stories about mean nuns. I had Sister Frederick. God, she was awful. She went to, because I stole an extra milk at dinner because I was thirsty. I stole the milk, like a 5-cent milk. It was like 5 cents back in 1980. 5-cent milk. She made me sleep under a piano. In the piano room on a hard floor because I stole the milk. Is that what Jesus would have done? Is that this woman? Who is that? So don't get me started on that stuff. I don't know what Red Dwarf is. They're talking about some show called Red Dwarf in the chat room. I don't know what Red Dwarf is, but apparently the best episode is when the guys go back in time to meet Jesus. Jeff Glenn says he's in the middle of the left. Jeff Glenn also appreciates Jesus' acoustic work. He says it was awesome. Okay. All right. Oh, Red Dwarf is a PBS comedy. Well, that explains it. I don't watch a lot of PBS. I might be progressive, but I ain't that progressive. Let's see here. We go Golden Showers again. Ezra and James. All right, let's talk about the Pete Buttigieg thing, okay? Because maybe we can work this through. And I think most people who know me in my real life know me that I'm not a hateful person and that any opinion that I have doesn't come from a position of superiority or I think a lot of people's hateful opinions come from confusion. I think that when something happens that is unrelatable to an individual, instead of trying to understand it, because that's work, that gives you a tired head trying to figure out how the world has changed. I think that the manifestation of that confusion and frustration becomes hate, or not hate, but snark or dislike. All right, so let's see what's happening here in the Pete Buttigieg situation, shall we? This is coming from he's transportation secretary. He's being hammered because he's taking maternity leave. Let's see if we can find the story. We don't need the whole story. Why don't we just go with Politico reports the transportation secretary Pete Buttigieg has been on paid paternity leave since mid-August, with the White House stating they believe every American should have access to paid family leave. I don't know. I think that it's important for mothers who give birth after a baby to not be forced to go back to work or lose their job if they don't immediately hand the baby off to grandma or a babysitter or a nanny or whatever. But paternity, I have difficulty wrapping my mind around that one. I mean, it seems to me that in the nuclear family setup, which is apparently no longer the way we're supposed to do things, but in that situation, somebody's got to work, right? Somebody's got to go bring home the bacon, as they say. I mean, how long is paternity leave? I mean, maternity leave, I understand that's That's quite a while. But now, see, this is not hate. This is just I'm frustrated trying to understand how this is going to work. How everybody who has a baby can now take off a couple of months. Again, I agree that it's important for the mother and child to bond, but I just don't know. I just don't get why the dad has to do it. But again, who am I? I'm a 50-year-old white man. The world has passed me by. It's not my world anymore. I'm just sitting here trying to figure it out, trying to not be a distraction, and certainly trying to not be a disruptor in this whole thing. I'm just going with it. I got about, by my estimation, 30 years left on this planet. I don't want to fight anybody anymore. I don't want to have any of those kinds of. So you tell me this is how the world is now, then okay. Then okay, you know what? I understand that I am probably more irrelevant to the modern world than relevant. So I'm just going to sit here and I'm going to watch it happen and I'm going to smile. I'll have a cocktail and maybe I'll just try and process it along with the rest of the people of my demographic, which are white men, 50 years old. But I'm not old. 50 years old doesn't seem old. We just had a 90-year-old go into space. That's like almost twice my age. The Queen Elizabeth, she's 95 years old. Mel Brooks is like about 100. Betty White is about to be 100. These people all seem to be pretty much functioning fully. Well, maybe they can't run up and down stairs anymore, but you get what I'm saying. All right, so let's see what we can find out about this Pete Buttigieg story. Politico has a story out. It says, "Can Pete have it all?" And again, this has been trending at the top almost all day. Pete Buttigieg, the White House, while U.S. ports faced anchor-to-anchor traffic and Congress nearly melted down over the president's infrastructure bill in recent weeks, the usually omnipresent transportation secretary was laying low. One of the White House's go-to communicators didn't appear on TV. He was absent on Capitol Hill during the negotiations over the bill he had been previously helping sell to different members of Congress. Conservative critics tried unsuccessfully to get "Where's Pete" to trend, and Fox News ran a story on October 4th with the headline, "Buttigieg quiet on growing port congestion as shipping concerns build ahead of holidays." They didn't previously announce it, but Buttigieg's office told West Wing Playbook that the secretary has actually been on paid leave since mid-August. It's the middle of October. 2 months? Look, this isn't your, guy who runs your insurance office. This is the transportation secretary. And apparently there's big issues with transportation. He's been gone for 2 months. I mean, look, I have no understanding of how the office of the Secretary of Transportation works. I have to imagine that there are competent people who can, pull the levers and twist the dials and do all that stuff. But 2 months? What? 2 months might be too much for me to understand about a woman, a mom on maternity leave. Buttigieg quiet on growing port congestion as shipping concerns build ahead of the holidays. They didn't previously announce it, but Buttigieg's office told the West Wing Playbook that the secretary has been on paid leave since mid-August to spend time with his husband, Chasen, and their 2 newborn babies. Now, I think that a lot of the derision and a lot of the heat that's being produced by this story has a little something to do with being uncomfortable with gay people. A little bit of that. That's not my issue. My issue is this is the transportation secretary, and he's been hanging out with a baby for 2 months during a critical time for the transportation secretary. Since October 7th, Buttigieg has appeared on MSNBC's Morning Joe, MSNBC with Jeff Bennett, CNN's New Day, CNBC's Morning Bell, Bloomberg's TV Power of Balance, and the NPR Politics podcast. He participated in virtual events to promote the infrastructure bill with the Commercial Club of Chicago and the Citizens Budget Commission of New York. He also attended a high-profile meeting with President Joe Biden Wednesday on supply chain bottlenecks. All right, so he's kind of doing something. Can he work? He's obviously working remotely in some capacity. In case reporters missed a flurry, the department blasted out an email to the press noting several of Buttigieg's media appearances with the subject line, "In case you missed it, Secretary Buttigieg highlights administration's effort to address..." See, I don't want to go into this. Acting Director of the Office of Management and Budget, Shalonda Young, is pregnant and is planning to take time away from the office to be with her daughter after she's born. According to an OMB spokesman, Senator Tammy Duckworth, the first senator ever to give birth in office, took 12 weeks maternity leave. 3 months. For a mom, I guess, okay, you could make that case to me. You could make that case. The breastfeeding, bonding with the mother. Okay. Advocates of paternity leave cheered Buttigieg for setting an example. It absolutely reflects the changing norms and changing minds and needs, said Dawn Hucklebridge, the director of the group for paid leave for all. I'm thrilled that the secretary did that and showed that work and family go together. Okay, see, okay, and people are upset with it, and I understand why people are upset with it. It doesn't make me a far righty, it doesn't make me a Q guy. It just makes me a normal person who is wondering why the Transportation Secretary of the United States of America is taking 3 months off during one of the most critical times in the history of the office of the Secretary of Transportation. That's all. But apparently he's doing something. So we're going to move on from that. That's why Buttigieg is trending. Is that political? Man, I sure hope it's not political. I don't mean for it to be political. Let's see what else. Oh, I suppose we can do this. Let's cleanse our palate here. We like to open up the show. See, I'm in such a bad depressive spin right now that I didn't even think to do the moment of joy. And today's moment of joy is a little bit weird. It's because everything is weird. It's funny though. I think you'll enjoy it. Let's watch this. Let's just see what is happening here. Here we go. All right, here's a little high school football. Who doesn't like high school football, right? Here we go. Let's watch this. I gotta make sure that it's showing because I don't have anybody here. Okay, here you go. Watch this crazy high school football play. Okay, throws him to the ground, and he dives on. Here, watch again. That's gotta be a flag, right? All right, wrestling fans, obviously. You gotta fight that guy, right? I mean, I didn't see a flag get thrown on that. I didn't see anything like dude should be ejected from the game. You can't do that. You got to get up. If you're the guy in the bottom that gets that little Superman thing, you got to get up. You got to shove that guy. You got to fight that guy. You can't do that. You can't put up with that. All right, so there you go. That's your moment. That's your moment of joy here on the show. All right, what else do we have? Yesterday we talked about we talked about William Shatner. Remember Shatner went into space earlier in the week. Did he go into space? I don't know. I'm getting a little hot. I turned the air conditioning off, and now the sun is coming out, so it's getting a little warm in here. Shatner went up to space with Bezos, not with Bezos, but Bezos shot Captain Kirk up to space, and he crossed the Kármán line. So technically, I guess he's an astronaut. Again, whatever. Scientists and astronauts have a problem with that, then I have a problem with it. I can only go by what the experts say. But William Shatner got criticized by Prince William. For those of you who are unfamiliar with the pecking order, Prince William would currently be third in line for the throne of England. He is the eldest son of Charles and Diana. He's not Harry. He's not the one married to Meghan Markle. He's not the one that left the family. He's the one that is taking the responsibility and is priming himself, has been primed his whole life really to be king. And he's going to be king. Because the way this is going, right now we got Queen Elizabeth. She's 95. She's not going to be queen for a whole lot longer. And the heir to the throne is Prince Charles. So Prince Charles is like in his 70s. So how long is he going to be king? I mean, is he going to live 95 years? I mean, he might. These royals, especially at the top of the pecking order, they seem to live a long time. Prince Albert, the Queen's husband, he just died last year. He was like 98 or something. So maybe. But William is like a young man. I think he's in his 30s, mid 30s maybe. His dad ain't gonna be king. I almost said president. Ain't gonna be king for a long time. So you got to figure that by the time he's 50 or in his 50s, he'll be a young king. So this is the heir to the throne. Prince William yesterday went hard in on Shatner. Well, not necessarily Shatner, but he went hard on Bezos and Musk and Virgin Starship, whatever the hell it's called, Virgin Galactic, Richard Branson, the billionaires who are, having this dick measuring contest about who can get into space first and who can do the most cool stuff up there. William said that he wishes that these billionaires would focus more of their money on here, on Earth, on fixing Earth, instead of What did I say? Leslie said Prince Philip, not Albert. No, you're right. I'm sorry. Did I say Prince Albert? Prince Albert again. Prince Philip was the husband of Queen Elizabeth. My apologies. Like I said, my mind's in a weird place. So William went in on the billionaires yesterday, making a statement about how he wishes that they would fix the earth, which, for obvious reasons, he's going to be king here on Earth. He's probably not going to be king up on the moon or wherever. That's probably why the billionaires are trying to establish shit up there, because they'd like a little piece of that monarchy thing. But William had a problem with it. He didn't like it, blah, blah, blah. So William Shatner is now responding today, and that's why he's trending again today. William Shatner is responding to Prince William's criticism of space travel by the world's billionaires. ET's Nichelle Turner spoke with the 90-year-old actor on Thursday, one day after he traveled to space. And Shatner was quick to defend his journey and space travel as a whole. But, in a world where everybody's exchanging heat with one another, 90-year-old Shatner, he ain't playing that game. 90-year-old, listen to what 90-year-old Shatner had to say in response. Classy. I would never have really thought of Shatner as being necessarily classy, especially if you've read any of the stories about the way he's behaved and the way he's treated people over the years. Shatner says of William, he's a lovely Englishman. He's going to be king of England one day. He's a lovely, gentle, educated man, but he's got the wrong idea. That's it. No heat. No heat from Shatner. Just kind of a classy little response to him. Shatner goes on to say, it really is quite crucial to be focusing on this planet rather than giving up and heading out into space to try and think of solutions for the future. That was William. William said yesterday, it really is quite crucial to be focusing on this planet rather than giving up and heading out into outer space. For Shatner, though, the journey held a different meaning, one that thought ahead to protecting the Earth, not finding any alternate space for its people to inhabit. The idea here is not to go, yeah, look at me, I'm in space, Shatner said. Look at that. No, Shatner said. I would tell the prince, and I hope the prince gets the message, this is a baby step into the idea of getting industry up there so that all those polluting industries, especially, for example, the industries that make electricity, are all off of Earth. We've got the technology, the rockets, to send the things up there. You can build a base 250, 280 miles above the Earth and send that power down here. And they catch it. And then they use it. And it's there, Shatner continued. All it needs is somebody as rich as Jeff Bezos to say, let's go up there. So that's sort of the shield that at least Bezos is using. Bezos is saying that the end game here isn't necessarily to build space hotels and space tourism. That's kind of what Branson is saying. But Bezos wants to build power plants on the moon, apparently, or Mars or whatever. We've destroyed this planet, so apparently the idea is that we can possibly fix this planet by, taking all of our polluting industries and putting them up there. What is that? 100 years away? We can't even launch. Seems like every fifth rocket that goes up blows up. What was that? Oh, spam risk. Okay, I didn't turn my phone off. Like I said, thank you for distracting me. I was just going to talk about one of my passions, which is space exploration. I think it's very important that we continue to explore, that as technology develops, it's human nature to want to see what's next. It's human nature to want to, bit of a cliche, but to go where no man has gone before. Or is it go where no person has gone before? Again, 50 years old, trying to make my way in this world. We've got to fix some of the stuff down here, Shatner said, but we can curl your hair and put lotion on your face at the same time. I don't know what that means. All right, so that's why Shatner is trending today again. Let's see, what else do we have going on here? Spam risk is leaving voicemail? That's weird. All right. Here's another piece of garbage that I didn't want to talk about. A guy named David Ames, who is a member of Parliament there in England. Did you see this? I guess this happened. We woke up to this morning. So a member of the British Parliament, House of Commons, dude that's been there since 1983, long-standing guy. He got stabbed and killed at a community event. He's just out there shaking hands, like the pancake breakfast, like those kinds of things that we do. Where you get to meet the people that are making all the decisions for you. And some dude walks up to him and stabs him like 7 times. And now he's dead. And that's something that happened. Where do you go with that? What are they got an opinion on that? Well, my opinion on that is that's bad. That shouldn't happen. I mean, this is the second time in 5 years that this has happened over there. Joe, oh man, I forgot her name now, but another member of Parliament, a female member of Commons, not the House of Lords, because they've got two sort of things there. A member of House of Commons, she was shot and killed 5 years ago, just while campaigning. So and now we've got this one, and it turns out this is something I found interesting. Members of House of Commons, they don't have security guards. They don't have. I mean, I remember back when I was doing radio in Chicago, we had the Illinois State's Attorney come in, and he had a body detail. He had a detail of security. How can members of Parliament in England not have bodyguards? I mean, especially if 5 years ago someone was just shot and killed. This guy's out there. He's in a church too. He was in a church. He was holding court. He was talking with the members of the community, and some dude walks up and just boom, 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 stabs him dead. Okay, Chicago Cubs are trending. That doesn't help my depression. Apparently, they got a new general manager, so that's good. Carter Hawkins from the Indians is now the GM of the Chicago Cubs. Here's something that's interesting. This is trending nationally on 2 different platforms, both Google and Twitter. Culver's. Do you people know what Culver's is? Is Culver's a thing here? Culver's is a Wisconsin-based hamburger joint that is prevalent in the Midwest. And what they're famous for, what I love them for, is they make cheese curds. And you know what cheese curds are? I don't think people in Texas know what cheese curds are, but cheese curds are like when you make cheese up there in Wisconsin, you get all this fatty stuff that floats to the top. It's the stuff that they have in cottage cheese, large curd, small curd. And then they scoop those curds up and they roll them in bread dough and then they deep fry them. And what happens a lot in Wisconsin is they do it right there on the side of the road. Like you'd be driving through like farm towns or whatever, and you'll see a dude at the end of his driveway, and he'll just have a big fryer and a little stand, and he'll sell you some home fresh curds from the cheese that he's making out there in the back. They're delicious. They're fantastic. But the only place you can sort of get them where I'm from in the Chicago area without having to go up into the woods of Wisconsin or the dairy area of Wisconsin is to go to a place called Culver's. And what Culver's is trending is because they brought their curd burger back. I've had a curd burger. Curd burgers are good. They're cheeseburgers, but they're made with cheese curds. And here's what I did. I wanted to see if there was a Culver's near me. Are there Culver's in Texas? It said yes. All right. Yeah. Mamie Rumpel wants, butter buns. Butter burgers is what they're famous for. Leslie Collins, is there a Culver's in Texas? Because now I want to go and get me a curd burger. Like my son, I hipped my son. We went to the Wisconsin Dells a couple of years ago. My Texas born and raised son. We drove way through Wisconsin and we stopped at 2 different places and got curds on our trip through the woods of Wisconsin. And my Plano raised kid loves cheese curds now. So if we can find a Culver's somewhere here in the area, there's one out by Lake Ray Hubbard. I ordered cheese curds and they tasted like they were cooked in old grease. Oh, that's a fear. Yeah. I don't know that they travel, and I don't know that you can make cheese curds, from frozen. I don't know if that's going to be any good. Okay, so there's one in McKinney on El Dorado. Okay, that's good. I guess I can just, look for that. Just Google search Culver's near me. But I didn't think they were here. I thought they were essentially just a Midwestern kind of thing, but there you go. If I can't have a Portillo's, maybe I can find a Culver's. That's good. Let's see here. China space station is trending. They sent a female astronaut up there. Oh, you know what's interesting? Lourdes Leon is trending. Do you guys know Lourdes Leon? She is the daughter of Madonna and Carlos Leon. And are you ready to feel old? She's 25 years old. Lord, Madonna's baby is 25 years old. I remember when that kid was born. I remember watching TV, and it was like I was watching CNN or I don't know MSNBC or Fox, whatever it was. I was watching something. Who knows what I was watching 25 years ago, right? And I remember them breaking in and saying that she had a baby, and I'm like, holy crap, Madonna had a baby? That just seemed very odd to me. And now that baby is 25 years old. And you know who that baby's first boyfriend was? That Timothy Chalamet guy. You know, he's supposed to be the hottest young actor in Hollywood right now, Timothy Chalamet. He's not French, or I mean, he is French, but she met him in high school in New York at some fancy arts high school, and that was her first boyfriend. Should we take a look at her? Should we see what Lourdes Leon is looking like? Why not? I'm a little bit intrigued. Yeah, well, you know, we'll go to Bing instead of Google because Bing has a better images to show here. How do you spell Lourdes? Lourde. There you go, Lourdes Leon. And I'll tell you why she's trending, because it irritates me. It does. It irritates me why she's trending. All right, here, let's take a look at Lourdes Leon, the daughter of Madonna, 25 years old. Apparently, she's a model. I mean, you know, I guess her dad was hot, right? Madonna wasn't with. Madonna wasn't dating Paul Giamatti and producing kids. She was with some dude who was probably good looking. Even though I don't know. There she is. Look at her. Look at Lourdes Leon. All right. She's a fine looking young lady. Fine looking young lady. Doesn't really look like Madonna, though. Maybe she looks more like her dad. There she is. She's all tatted up like a child of her era. She's all right. What's this down here? She smoking, or is that a one hitter? You don't see a lot of 25-year-old kids smoking. Oh, she is. She is. Yeah, she's smoking. There's no picture of her smoking. All right. All right. She's a pretty young lady. She's a model. I mean, what am I going to say? She's a 25-year-old kid. Well, no, not a kid, Pug. She's a grown adult. Whatever. She's a kid to me. Very nice. There she is. That's Lourdes Leon. So why is Lourdes Leon trending, you might ask? Well, she's trending for a number of different reasons, which always tells me that she has a new publicity firm. And whenever you start seeing a whole bunch of different stories, that means that she hired a PR agency and they are flooding the social networks with, stupid stories about. She seems to be bragging about, and this bothers me, pretty much working class blue collar guy, raised by a single mom, didn't come from money. She seems to be bragging about making it on her own. Lourdes Leon, the daughter of Madonna. There is no way possible that she is making. We are talking about her on some rando live stream show out of Dallas, Texas. She's not making it on her own. She can probably. Apparently, when she graduated high school, she told her mom that she didn't want any more help and that she wanted to make it on her own. So she moved to New York, bought a big fancy house in Brooklyn, and became a model. Now, I guess, how'd she do that? 18-year-old kids can't leave high school and then immediately buy like a beautiful home in Brooklyn and then walk into a modeling agency and immediately be signed to a big contract. We just looked at her. She's a pretty girl, but I wouldn't say, oh yeah, that girl is obviously a supermodel. I mean, she's a pretty girl. She's a pretty girl. If you walked into a club, you'd go, oh my goodness, that girl is pretty. If you saw her at the mall, you'd go, oh, isn't that girl pretty? But I don't think she's jaw-droppingly supermodel hot that she could walk in off the street to some big modeling agency in New York and they'd be like, sight unseen, you're signed, baby. No. You can't be bragging about doing it on your own when your mother is Madonna and the world knows that your mother is Madonna. Ridiculous. I'll give you an example. There's a new show on Netflix, right? And this is not to take a shot at somebody who I actually like, but just follow me on this story. There's a new show on Netflix. It's not a new show, but it's a new installment of a show that's been around for about 3 years called How Did This Get Made? You've probably seen it. It's about movies. It's like a little bit, they take a movie and then they give you a 1 hour documentary about how the movie got made. It's not like boring egghead stuff either. It's pretty lowest common denominator, silly VH1 style from the 90s show, right? But it's supposed to be mass appeal. And one of the movies that they're featuring in this new installation of the series is Halloween. And they're talking about how Halloween got made in the movie, the famous John Carpenter film from 1978. And Jamie Lee Curtis is the star of Halloween. Jamie Lee Curtis walked in to do the audition for Halloween for the lead role, and she didn't get it. The producers of the movie Halloween wanted, interestingly enough, Carrie Fisher. And why did they want Carrie Fisher? They wanted Carrie Fisher because she was the daughter of Debbie Reynolds and Eddie Fisher. They thought that that would produce a little bit of buzz for the movie and people would talk about it. So Jamie Lee Curtis comes in, she auditions, and they don't like her. They're like, we really want this Carrie Fisher. We really think that she's going to be good for us. Now, Jamie Lee Curtis didn't come in and say that she was the daughter of Janet Leigh and Tony Curtis. The producers didn't know this at the time. Remember now, interestingly enough, they were focused on another famous daughter of Debbie Reynolds and Eddie Fisher in Carrie Fisher. But Carrie Fisher ended up doing something else. I don't know, Star Wars, something like that. So she was unavailable to do the Halloween movie. And then the casting director informed the producers who Jamie Lee Curtis was, who her father was, who her mother was, and the fact that her mother was in Psycho. And here they are making another slasher horror film. Then they immediately hired her. Now, Jamie Lee Curtis had the best of intentions. She didn't want to get a job based on who she was, but out of her control, she got the job anyway. Because no matter who if you are Jamie Lee Curtis, there's somebody in the production arena who's going to know who your parents were. And at some point, they're going to out you. So, you know who kind of did it the right way? Nicolas Cage. Nicolas Cage's real name is Nicholas Coppola. He's a Coppola of the Francis Ford Coppolas and Sophia Coppola's, Talia Shire, who I guess also did it the right way because she's not Talia Coppola. Remember Adrian from the Rocky movies? Okay. He changed his name flat out. He struggled for a whole bunch of years because he was really secretive about who his family was. He became Nick Cage. And then after he gets one role, then the other roles start to come because he's outed. But for Lourdes Leone, the daughter of Madonna, to be pretending that she did anything on her own as a point of pride for her, I mean, that's just absolute bullcrap. And again, 25-year-old girl, although she's not 17. It's not like I'm criticizing a 17. She's 25. She's a grown woman with more money in her bank account right now than I will probably ever have in my life. It just irritates me that Lourdes Leone is right now trending because there's a story out about how she did it on her own. And she also says that she has a great relationship with her mom. This isn't like she doesn't like her mom. She appreciates her mom and she appreciates having the advice. But I mean, you got to imagine that doors are just going to be open for her, especially at the beginnings of whatever career it is that she's going to go out on. Doors are going to be open for her simply because she is Madonna's daughter. So you don't have the right to try and pretend that, you are somehow doing it on your own when you're just not. You're just not. That's garbage. Okay, let's see here. Yeah, born on third base. That's exactly what it is. Who was it? Somebody said something recently. It was a great born on third base quote. Boy, it escapes me. But it was another one of these. Another one of these. You know what? This actually might be from the show Billions. Now that I think about it. Yes, it was. No, it wasn't. It was from another show that I'm rewatching. The Newsroom. You ever watch The Newsroom on HBO? It was a series a couple of years ago. Aaron Sorkin, if you're a fan of The West Wing, you'll like it. A couple of years back when our politics in this country was, well, not like it isn't now, but when it first started to completely capsize, I decided to go back and watch all of The West Wings just because I needed some fantasy of how how shit could work, how people could be effective in government. And The West Wing is a pretty good example of that. So I went back and watched. So recently I have decided, because of the same reason about media, about how news media, how it's all just so ruined, I decided to go back and watch the pie in the sky version of media, which is The Newsroom, the Aaron Sorkin thing. And that's where the quote comes from. Some rich billionaire girl who was trying a hostile takeover of the company that owns the news network that's featured in the show. She says, "I'm fully aware that I was born on third base, but now I'm stealing home." And I thought, oh, okay. Okay. You're only allowed to steal home, though, because you were born on third base. And so did Leslie say that? That's a great one. Leslie, it's funny. You say you miss West Wing. I would encourage you to go back and watch it, or at least go back and watch as much of it as you can, because I loved The West Wing. I loved Aaron Sorkin's writing. I thought it was fantastic. I loved the way the patter. I loved the back and forth dialogue. I'm a big dialogue guy. But man, there were moments in 2016, 2017. This is about when I was re-binging The West Wing. There were moments where it just infuriated me. It just made me so mad, because the depictions of the way stuff was seen by Aaron Sorkin in the 1990s when he wrote this, in the way they actually play out in practice, it made me very angry. I'm watching these things, these idealized portrayals of situations that occur during a presidency, and I'm like, yeah, well, that wouldn't happen if the dude just said, "Nah, I'm not doing it." There's just so much stuff. Like in the West Wing, there's all of this moral grandstanding and stuff that is really just pie in the sky. I mean, we want it to be that way. We in our perfect idealized version of the way things are supposed to be, maybe that's how it would play out, the way it's depicted in West Wing episodes. But we have seen in the last 10 years or whatever of American politics that you could just say, "Nah, I'm not doing it that way. Whatever, you're going to be mad at me. Oh, what? I'm going to get canceled? Is that what's going to happen?" People don't really get canceled. They take heat for a couple of days. And then if they just ignore the canceling, I mean, I'll tell you, this is not political. This is not political. This is one of the things that I learned from the old the MAGA power play is to just ignore it. Just ignore it. Just no matter if people are demanding that you resign, if people are demanding that you step down, if people are demanding that you do this, just don't do it. Just don't do it. And a couple of days will pass and everybody will lose interest, and you can still, I mean, we've seen a lot of the MAGA politicians engage in this kind of stuff. We got Matt Gaetz. Look at Matt Gaetz. Matt Gaetz is like getting hammered by federal authorities. There's a big investigation. Anybody else, well, not anybody else, but people, previous politicians, they'd have stepped down months ago. Nope. He's just not going to do it. And what can you do to him? Nothing. You got like the Marjorie Taylor Greene saying crazy stuff, and it seems like the other side, the pussy side, I have all of the best intentions, and it is for this reason that I apologize for what I've done, and I will now step down. Al Franken. Al Franken stepped down. Al Franken, if he had just said, "Nah, I'm not going to do it," nothing would have happened to him. Nothing. He'd still be there probably. I don't know. But that's one of the things that the MAGA wing of politics has sort of executed brilliantly. They've just said, "Yeah, we're not going to do it. Screw you. I said what I said, and I'm not going away." And knowing that reality exists today made it really difficult for me to watch The West Wing. It really did, because it was like, that's really not a problem for the president. The president can just say, "Yeah, I'm not doing it," and it would go away. John Gruden's a good example of this. I was actually surprised that John Gruden and that he resigned. I mean, what if John Gruden had said, "Yeah, I'm not going to resign"? No. Yeah, I mean, I guess he had a boss. He had Mark Davis, who was the one who sort of pushed him to resign. But what if Mark Davis didn't push him to resign? What if Mark Davis was just like, "What do you want to do here?" And Gruden was like, "Screw it. I'm just going to stay." we wouldn't be talking about that. That'd be done. That was like a week ago. Urban Meyer didn't do nothing. Urban Meyer, if Urban Meyer had been, around 10 years earlier, he'd have resigned. He'd have stepped down in the wake of that humiliating video that was released of him, cheating on his wife. And yeah, it was cheating. I do think that was cheating. He'd have resigned. He'd have resigned in shame. He'd be hiding right now. But guess what? He didn't. And nobody's talking about it anymore because we want blood in the moment. But if we give it enough time, we're going to totally forget about it. We'll totally move on to the next thing. So there you go. That was my West Wing rant. That's why I get upset with the West Wing. That's why I think that, I love the show. I do. I love the show. I love the show for a whole bunch of other reasons. And I'm also enjoying the newsroom, which is my attempt to see an idealized version of what media can actually be. The other thing about media that's really bothering me, remember the whole Joe Rogan is trending again today. So I guess we'll talk about this. Joe Rogan, by the way, is now telling people to get vaccinated. Joe Rogan says now that he believes that everybody should be vaccinated, but he thinks that the best possible scenario is to get vaccinated, where you get the artificial antibodies or microbials or whatever the hell they are. I don't know. This is not my field of expertise. But whatever you get from the vaccine, he thinks that you should get that from the vaccine and then possibly, if possible, go out and get yourself the actual COVID. Get it. Because you won't get that sick like he did because he's got the vaccine. And now he's also got these additional antibodies. I don't know what, Joe Rogan to me is an entertaining dude. He's the fear factor guy. I don't know that science is, I want to take his advice on science, but that's what he's saying now. He's saying now that people should get vaccinated and then if possible, go out and get COVID. Because then you'll be full metal protected after you. And again, if you're vaccinated and you get the COVID, it's not going to be as bad as if you weren't vaccinated. It'll just be like, a flu for a couple of days. I guess. I don't know. That's what they're saying. But more about the media aspects here. So I remember when Joe got the Rona, whatever it is we're talking about. And he did this radical treatment of all of these different things. And one of the things that he took was the ivermectin, which is what? The horse dewormer, right? Because that's the story. Joe Rogan takes horse dewormer. Joe Rogan takes horse dewormer. It was everywhere. Joe Rogan takes horse dewormer. Well, it turns out he didn't. And that the people who reported that knew that he didn't. They knew that there was a difference between what he took in the veterinary drug. He took a version of ivermectin that is also available for humans. Yet that distinction was never made by anybody in the media who was trying to make Joe Rogan look like a fool. And look, I don't love everything Joe does. He makes himself look like a fool all the time. And I think that he admits that. He always shrouds himself in the I'm no expert, but he's no expert with a massive audience that actually kind of thinks that he is an expert. So, but I mean, the media really did that. CNN specifically. I watched the entire Sanjay Gupta interview. It was trending. Joe Rogan sat down with CNN doctor Sanjay Gupta, and he confronted him directly about, why did you guys lie about me? Why did you guys never make the distinction that what I took was for humans and not for animals? Why did you run with the story that I was taking horse dewormer or equine dewormer or whatever the hell it was? And Sanjay Gupta had no response to that. He didn't really say, well, I don't know. Which is fair, because Sanjay Gupta isn't an editor at CNN. He doesn't put the stories together. He's a guest. He comes on to discuss the medical issues of the day. So, I mean, he doesn't have to know how the sausage is made at CNN. But after the interview, I actually looked into that. I looked, I said, "What is there 2 different kinds of this? And what exactly did Joe Rogan take?" And sure enough, it's there. If you look for it, if you do the research yourself instead of just going on what Jake Tapper says or what Don Lemon puts out there, you can find out that from the beginning, he never took the horse dewormer. He took a human version of it, a version that has been tested on humans for years. It is based on the drug that is used to keep horses from getting worms, but that's not what he took. I mean, the media made it out like he was out there chugging in a barn a bunch of shit that's supposed to go into horses, and that's just not true. Just not true. And then there's the photo. Then there's the photo. Yeah, you heard about the photo that CNN did to him? Well, look. I hate Fox News. I hate MSNBC, and right now I hate CNN more than both of them because I used to think Fox News is just way too moronic right, and MSNBC is way too moronic left. And I had always sort of sat with CNN as being at least in the middle, a little bit of crazy right, a whole lot of crazy left, but at least I felt like they weren't planting their flag firmly on one side. CNN they showed the video. I watched it. There was a clip. I watched the video that CNN showed of Joe Rogan when Joe Rogan posted to Instagram, talking about his battle with COVID and what he was taking. And then I saw the actual Joe Rogan Instagram video. CNN altered the video. CNN took the Joe Rogan video that he posted to Instagram and grayed it out, made it look grainy, made his eyes look sunken. They changed the appearance of the instead of just pulling the Instagram video that Joe Rogan posted, they put it through some Photoshop bullshit in order to make him look gaunt and gray and sickly. And when you see him side by side, it was awful. Why is CNN doing this? I'm not telling people to go out and take the horse dewormer. I'm fully vaxxed up. I can't wait to get my next vax shot. I want my booster. I would like to try and get back to normal. I've had both shots. I'm perfectly fine. There's nothing, I'm not growing a tail, anything like that. I can go blind. I don't have I already have a heart issue that I deal with, but that's a completely unrelated thing, which is why I want to get the booster because it's, supposed to help me. If I get it, I could have other things. Vermectin and vermectin is the same in animals and humans. It's only a different dosage. Okay, Emily, I appreciate you pointing that out, but the fact of the matter is that the story was still skewed to appear like he was taking veterinary foods or veterinary stuff. No, he didn't. He did take horse dewormer. Okay, are we parsing words now? Are we? Are you trying to defend CNN? They obviously had an agenda. They obviously had a way they wanted the story. All right, so let's forget about the ivermectin. Explain to me about the video. Why did they change the coloring of the video? They did. And I'm one of these guys. All right, now what is she saying? Do you honestly think the drugs that Joe Rogan know the difference between buying ivermectin from Tractor Supply and getting a doctor to prescribe it? The fact that Tractor Supply is out of it. I don't know. What do you do? Are you just repeating talking points now that support your personal opinion? I have no idea. He was under the care of a doctor. And see, this is the thing. People are always like, listen to the doctors, not to Joe Rogan. Well, we got to listen to all doctors. There are some doctors that, are a little bit crazy out there, of course. But I got to imagine he went to a real doctor. I don't imagine that he went to some crazy witch doctor who gave him something that was sketchy and And you're right, Emily. That's the problem. Emily, that is the problem. No news source is completely truthful. We're going to agree on that. And that's a big, big bummer, man. We're all of a sudden, we're wondering what is truth? What is fact? What is real? We're all so confused. We have never had access to more information in our life, but we've also never had access to that information being agendized by people who are trying to get a specific point across. The confusion runs deep these days. We got the story in Southlake yesterday. We talked about that on the Pillow Talk edition. That's also still trending. Holocaust is trending. Because in Southlake, here in Texas, a suburb of Dallas, right there, is it a suburb of Dallas or a suburb of Fort Worth? I don't know. It's by DFW Airport, so let's just say it's right in the middle. Suburb of the mid-cities, we'll call it that. A very well-to-do community. Southlake is one of the most. Woo! You got to be rich to live in Southlake. You pull up the Southlake page on Wikipedia and you look at notable residents. It's like everybody who's ever played for the Cowboys lives there. It's like it's all professional athletes and people who own companies and billionaires and stuff like that. So in Southlake, in the Southlake School District yesterday, there was a, this didn't happen yesterday. This actually happened a while ago, but it started trending yesterday. And by a while ago, I mean a couple weeks, maybe. There was a conversation going on between the school administrator or somebody representing the school administration and a group of teachers. And the topic was a new Texas state law that says that if you are requiring certain books to be read by students, certain books that may have opposing viewpoints, you don't want to be brainwashed, the whole critical race theory thing, which I'm not going to talk about. But the state law says that you must offer a book also in the library that offers an opposing viewpoint. And the school administrator, in front of all of these teachers, gave the example of the Holocaust. In Southlake, these are educated people. These are the people in Southlake are successful achievers with PhDs and master's degrees, and they run companies and they go to the best of universities. Their children are being forced now to read an opposing view to the Holocaust in Southlake. This is what I mean. What is the cliche? You're entitled to your own opinions, but you're not entitled to your own facts. What is the opposing viewpoint to the Holocaust? And is that opposing viewpoint in any way something kids should be exposed to in high school? I don't know, man. And the reason that it's extra troubling for me with Southlake is because these are not young kids who are going to just fade into the background of life. These are the young children of the one percenters. These are the children who will go on and have influence. These are children who will go on and have power in our society for the most part. And while their minds are the most fertile, they're now going to be forced to read some opposing viewpoint to what the accepted narrative of the Holocaust was. I mean, now a lot of people are defending this school administrator and say, well, it was just a bad example. It was a terrible example that she used. She could have used. What else could she have used? I said last night. So if you offer in the school Alex Haley's Roots, do you have to then offer a book that's pro-slavery? What? I mean, this is, again, I don't want to sound elitist because I am certainly not elitist. Check my bank account for that. These are not kids that are going to go and dig ditches for a living. These are kids who are going to go out into the world and theoretically accomplish things. They're born on third base. These are the kids that are born on third base. And now they're going to take the idea that the Holocaust wasn't all that bad, that the narrative of the Holocaust, there is a counterpoint to it. So, that's what we're dealing with in this world. It's part of the reason why I'm in such a blah mood right now. All right, let's jump back in here. Even educated people believe in flat earth or creationism. No, I disagree with that. And I don't mean to beat up on you. I love you, Emily. I don't mean to beat up on you. But I don't believe that an educated person believes that the earth is flat. That is not the viewpoint of an educated person. Actually, the person may be educated who believes that, but that person is also crazy. That person is also nuts. I mean, look at this. We've got James Parker joining us. May be educated who believes that, but that person is also crazy. That person is also nuts. What's happening? James? Look at this. We've got James Parker joining us.
Do y'all have like a feedback loop or something?
May be educated who believes that. One.
There we go. Sorry, I had another window open.
Oh, there you go. Okay, that's it. Hey, James, welcome to the show. I was just expressing my dismay with the world. It's been a pretty bummer show so far.
Are you one of the guys that denies that Jesus rode dinosaurs? Are you a dinosaur denier?
Yes,
Don't
I
you are?
am. Yes, I am. I am one of the people who does not believe that Jesus coexisted with dinosaurs. But no, what I was talking about again was that what you missed was I had gone in on CNN pretty hard. I've always been the kind of person who would shout from the rooftops that you're a moron if you watch MSNBC, you're a moron if you watch Fox News, and I begrudgingly fell in the middle to CNN, thinking that they were the lesser of two evils, which obviously have an agenda that they are pushing on both sides. And, I watched the Sanjay Gupta Joe Rogan interview. And now I don't know where to turn. What am I supposed to watch now? BBC? BBC World? Am I supposed to get the European viewpoint of how fucked up we are here in this country? I don't know where to turn. I'm very upset because it is obvious to me at this point, not only after watching the Sanjay Gupta Joe Rogan interview, and I'm no apologist for Joe Rogan. I think he's the greatest MMA play-by-play guy in history, but I certainly don't think that he should be some major thought leader. He has great influence, and sometimes I think that he's a little bit reckless with that influence, but he's an entertainer. And you need to understand that the man is doing what he sees as entertainment. So, at any rate, having said all that, I watched this interview with Sanjay Gupta, and it just made me disgusted with CNN because it became absolutely clear to me that CNN misrepresented the whole Joe Rogan horse dewormer story. And not only did they do that, but they took the video that Joe Rogan cut where he announced that he had COVID and that he was taking these concoctions of whatever. They took that video that he posted to Instagram and they quite obviously altered it to make him look sicker than he was. In the actual video, he looks fine. In the video that ran on CNN, they grayed him out. They made him look sunken. They made him look, in the way. So, I'm just in a mood. I don't know where to go for my news and information anymore. I don't know who to trust. I went in on Pete Buttigieg earlier because, I'm all for the idea that, parents should probably get a little time to spend with their newborn baby. I think it's more important that the mother does it, but who the hell's going to work? Somebody's got to go to work and keep the wheels going. And Pete Buttigieg has been out for 3 months now. Transportation Secretary of the United States of America.
Well, he just had a baby, Pugs.
No,
he just had a baby
3 months ago.
Right. Well, you don't just recover from childbirth in a couple days, Pugs. This takes a long time. He's on paternity leave. It's official. He's on paternity leave. This is when you have to deal with the medical recovery that comes with having a baby.
Mm-hmm. All right. Also, I'm kind of just freeballing it today. I appreciate you joining me. This was a nice surprise. I figured that I'd just do the whole show by myself.
Well, my bum kids are home, so I'm hiding off in the studio now from them.
Nice. Well done. Stoneman Douglas High School is trending. James, do you know what Stoneman Douglas High School is?
Yeah, that's the shooting. Marjorie Stoneman.
Yeah.
I
think we more commonly refer to it as Parkland, right?
Right.
The Parkland shooting down there. One of the bad ones. That's trending today because the dude who did the shooting is, look at this, a man of character. He's pleading guilty to all the charges. He's
So is this a deal? Like, is this how he avoids the chair or the firing squad or burning at the stake? I don't know what they do in Florida, but
yeah, I don't know.
It could be bizarre.
But
is this the deal so he gets life instead of dying?
I don't know. I have no idea. Well, should we pull it up? Should we look at this? Nicholas Cruz. I think it's great that I didn't know his name because, that's one of the things that I always get upset about it. We know the names of the Columbine guys. Who else do we know the name? Pretty much all the other ones, we don't really know their names. We've forgotten them. Like the Aurora shooting guy.
Yeah, like the Batman or the Joker guy.
Yeah, we don't know his name. We didn't make him a celebrity. He's not Ted Bundy or Jeffrey.
We know some of them.
Who? I said
Dylan. Me saying them defeats the purpose.
No, but we're having a conversation. This is an
Adam Lanza.
Who?
Adam Lanza.
Okay,
that was the Sandy Hook, the Connecticut one.
Yeah, I don't know that dude's name. I wouldn't.
Dylan Roof was the black church in South Carolina.
Dylan Roof, I knew. Yeah, if you'd have told me about the guy who walked into the Bible study at the black church in South Carolina and gunned everybody down, yeah, I'd have given you that one.
Yeah, I don't like this exercise. Let's not try and remember as many mass shooters as we possibly
Well, you
can.
know, back in the day, we might have made a daily game out of it.
Oh, we
Name
would've.
name the
Been nice
killer.
and sick, and it Wednesday was my day, so
Who was the guy, who was the guy we don't know the guy in Vegas. I think that's good. We didn't glorify him. We didn't make him a hero or a
yeah,
martyr.
we learned his name at the time, but I don't remember it.
Yeah. All right. So the point is that this kid's name is Nicholas Cruz, and I'm not worried about mentioning it because it's been a few years now, and I had to be reminded by his name here because it didn't really become anything. The Parkland shooter, Nicholas Cruz, plans to plead guilty Wednesday to 17 murder counts in the 2018 massacre at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School. Who is Marjorie Stoneman Douglas? Do we know? Do we need to change that name? That sounds like it might be Civil War related, doesn't it?
Right.
That sounds
Well, I'm
like
suspicious of any of the hyphenated female names. It's like they're up to something.
Also plans to plead guilty to 70 counts of attempted first-degree murder in connection with the deadliest high school shooting in recent U.S. history. The pleas will come with no conditions, and prosecutors they're still going to seek the death penalty. No conditions on the pleas. He's just
Oh, so it really is sort of just a morality play here?
sign of character, dare we say?
Right. Yeah,
I mean, I don't know.
this doesn't make any sense, but okay.
Whatever. Prosecutors seem to have been blindsided by the declaration of Cruz's intentions during an abruptly scheduled hearing on Friday. So
Yeah,
that's why
because
he's
it makes no sense. Of course they're blindsided.
yeah, well, certainly not. All right, what else do we got here? You got anything on your plate that you want to bring? Anything you want to talk about? Anything that's on your mind? Anything?
Man,
I enjoy a
oh,
good
so
Parker rant.
so not in my close circle of friends, but in that wider Venn diagram of acquaintances.
Uh huh.
There this year, I've seen so many divorces, and we know how wacky 2020 and 2021 have been compared to the rest of our lives, and added stress on top of what's already a difficult life. Seen a lot of divorces, and these people are just barfing all this stuff on Facebook. Maybe a little bit here and there on Twitter or Instagram, but Facebook, they're like leaving these long multi-paragraph explanations to the world on their divorce. It's like, I don't want to hear your explanation. And I wouldn't give everyone an explanation if I got divorced. I would kind of keep that to myself. I wouldn't want people to necessarily know. But this is this a coping mechanism? You've been through a couple divorces, right? Did you
Yeah.
leave long screeds
No.
explaining to the world?
No, and I was on, I was on the radio for a lot of them, a lot of them. For
Right.
I had
All of
access
them.
to an audience for them, and no, I don't think. I think for me, it's very selfish for you to go and be public about the end of a marriage unless the person that's also involved in it with you is also going public. You know what I mean? This is certain things. Look, I'm an open book. I said this before. I wear everything on my sleeve. Yeah, I started out the show today talking about mental health and how I'm kind of spinning into a bad depressive state, which I can always feel coming on. But no, those you have, if it only affects you, that's fine. Then you can share any way you want. But the minute you start to incorporate somebody else that is in your life and a part of your wake of tragedy, that's not cool. That's not. I learned that a lot with being on the radio. I used to always talk about my relationships and stuff like that, and I used to think that was totally fine. And hey, that's what they signed up for. Well, that was really an asshole way of looking at it. And
Mhm.
people ask me all the time, how come you don't want to do shows when your kid is here? Because my kid didn't sign up for this. Because my kid, and certainly my kid's mother, didn't sign up for this. As a matter of fact, she did the opposite of signing up for it when we got divorced. She took herself out of it. So, you have to respect that. And I talk about things here and there, things that I think are fairly innocuous and, not troubling in any way, shape, or form. But no, yeah, I think that's kind of gross when people talk about. Now, are they slaying the bitch, or are they, you know what I mean? Are they saying harsh
No.
things,
No,
or
no, and that's kinda nice, the nice part about it. I mean, I've seen ugly divorces get just thrown up there on Facebook as well, but that's not the trend I'm talking about. Like, 2 of these couples are in business together, and so, one of the couples, they own a gym together. In fact, they met by going to CrossFit or whatever, and,
cult of CrossFit?
Yeah, and I think the, girl inherited some money, and so they opened a gym, and so he's a personal trainer, and she's a personal trainer, and they own their own gym. They're gonna get divorced and, split up and live in separate houses, but they're still going to own the gym together.
Ooh, that ain't gonna work out.
No. So, they're
That
putting it up
business
on.
is about to fail.
Well, they're both just ridiculously beautiful because they're personal trainers, and so
Of
they're
course.
just, "Aren't you fit? Oh, is that for me? Your perfect abs? Did you work
Mm.
out for me? Yeah, thank you." Uh I'm just waiting for this to burn to the ground, but there's another one that's a married couple. She's a real estate agent and he's a contractor. So basically, every house that she lists, there's something that has to be fixed up on it. Like shingles or the bathroom wall got a hole in it or something here and there. And so she kind of drags him along, and they kind of do a revenue sharing thing where sometimes he brings her business, she brings him a lot of business. They're getting a divorce. They just got a divorce and they're still working together.
Yeah, well, hey,
Who
look,
are these people?
I don't know. I don't know. I can tell you that with my 2 d I like to think that I have fine relationships with both of my ex-wives. I is mar
Do you wanna work with them? Could you work with them in a work
now I
setting?
could. Now I
Really?
could, but
Really?
certainly not within 18 months of the end of the marriage. No, no, that would have not been. I mean, but I've changed who I am. I mean, I've taken responsibility for things personally, and I understand. And there's some guilt, certainly, without going into any details, because that's another thing. I don't need to drag them. But I mean, in the early days on Live 105.3, when I first came here, we used to talk to my ex-wife Sloan a lot on the air. She would call in. She's one of my favorite people in the world. I mean, she's remarried now, and there isn't. I don't think it's proper for me to still have her. You know what I mean? I don't think it's. I think we need to let that husband, because that husband would be rightfully a little irritated, right? Wouldn't you think? If your current wife's ex-husband is, calling in the middle of the night and asking for advice or whatever, or just chit chat, that'd be
He's
weird.
playing catch up.
But I mean, she'd get my bone marrow if she needed it. I mean, it's that kind of relationship. My son's mother would get a kidney if she needed a kidney and I
I
was
don't know.
compatible.
Look, I think if you have an ex and y'all don't have a kid together, if you want, and you're probably supposed to, just get the hell out of town and never speak to each other again.
Yeah, yeah, and it does help probably with my first ex-wife. That she lives in one state and I live in a different state, and neither of the states are the states that we were married in. So we've moved on with our life. But this is interesting because at your age now. Okay, sorry, I just saw a breaking news thing, but it's just about the FDA approving a booster for the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. I thought that was the messed up vaccine. I thought Johnson & Johnson was the one that nobody
It
would get
is.
because it
It
was
is.
all jacked up.
Yeah, get another one.
All right. Yeah, right, let's get a third one of the bad one. I saw a pecking order of the vaccines that said that, Pfizer is Neiman Marcus, Moderna is Macy's, and Johnson & Johnson is Dollar Tree.
Right.
It's like, "Oh, really?" So that's
AstraZeneca is like TJ Maxx, I think.
Oh, yeah, I didn't even know AstraZeneca. That's right, I forgot about that one. That's out
Mhm.
there too. I'm team Pfizer. I got the Neiman. I guess I got the top flight one, but, I'm not bragging. What were we talking about? Oh, yeah, okay, so you're at an age now where you've been married for a number of years, you've got a family, your friends, your running buddies, if you were to go back to 15, 16 years old, the guys that you came up with, are most of them married? And what would you say the percentage of them that have gotten divorces is?
It's probably 80-20. There's only like 2 of my friends that were my running buddies in high school that never got married. Um, if I look at my tight circle of friends, they're all married once and still married to that chick.
I have the same experience, and I am wondering, have divorce rates dropped within the last 20 years? Because I look at all of my friends from high school, and let's say if there's 10 of them, and there's probably more than 10, but if we're talking about 10 of them, 8 of them are still married, 2 of them are divorced. And I'm one of the 2. I gotta
Mhm.
include myself in one of those 2. I mean, I look at them and I'm like, "How did they stay?" Now, none of these people are as emotionally and psychologically broken as I am, so I can completely understand why look, I bring a lot of baggage to any relationship. I raised an only child. I was basically raised like well-fed human veal, right? I mean, I lived in my bedroom all by myself. My mother was a fantastic mother, but she was a single mom, and I didn't have any brothers and sisters, and she worked all the time. So, it was just that was our life. So the very idea, and this is why I say that I have really no intention of being married again, and certainly do not see myself being in any kind of long-standing committed relationship with anyone, just because that's not how I'm wired. I mean, we've run into this. My both of my ex-wives would tell you that I spent the better part of our relationship together completely ignoring them. And it's true. It's true because that's how I formed myself as a human being, by myself in my own head, thinking about only that, sitting in front of a TV, and later in life sitting in front of a computer screen. Just leave me alone. I don't communicate well with people in these kinds of situations, which is ironic because I think I communicate just fine to an audience and to a group of people. Just don't come home with me, because if you come home with me, I'm going to have my room and you're going to have your room, and we'll meet for dinner. That's it.
What are you talking about? You don't wanna be in the same room as her?
Yeah, no, it's not that I don't want to be in the same room. I don't watch TV with I can't watch TV with people. I
Why
can't.
not? That's the best. I love watching TV with my
It's
wife.
not. You grew up in a normal family with a bunch of people
So
around
are
you.
you just incapable of, like, true human connection?
Probably at this age, I am probably drilling down on that as being fact, yeah. I think that I'm so emotionally self-centered and so completely caught up in my own head that it is difficult for any. Now that is not to say that we'll talk about my 2 marriages. That is not to say that I did not love these women with all my heart. I absolutely did. It wasn't like I didn't like them. It's just that I don't think I know how to share life with somebody. If that makes any sense. I don't know how.
Well,
I am
what's
selfish
your
at life.
relationship describe your relationship with your mom.
Um
Is there a hole in it somewhere? Did someone hurt somebody's feelings one day and it hadn't been
no.
resolved? What's anything going on with there?
No, I mean, look, my relationship with my mother, I think, is like any grown man's relationship with his mother. It's complicated, but it is unconditionally loving and supportive. And, I don't, I'm not the kind of person that when my phone rings and it's my mom, I don't let it go to voicemail. I answer, wow, what's going on, mom? I don't think that we communicate particularly lovingly. You know what I mean? Like it's not, but there is like there's an unspoken truth there that we both support each other unconditionally and only want the best for each other. But again, also, growing up, I didn't spend time in the living room watching TV with my mom. I We didn't hang out together. I had my own thing, she had her own thing, and I don't know. Yeah, and look, my mom, yeah, but Emily Pug's mom my mom is awesome. I mean, I knew growing up as a kid that my mom was the cool mom. Not
Well,
like the
that's
cool
that's
mom that would buy us beer, but the cool mom, like, if a kid was having trouble at home, that kid could stay at my house.
right. Well, that all sounds okay. So it really is sort of leaning more toward that you don't know how to share life. You don't know how
Yes.
to share your toys.
Oh yeah, man. Look, I'm telling you, I've talked to people about this. I've been through the therapy ringer. When I was the best times of my life was when we were kicking on all cylinders here in Dallas, and I got to go see my therapist up there in Legacy Village once a week. That was awesome. I never felt better. Made a lot of discoveries about myself. It was the reason I decided to get married again. And then as soon as I got married again, I stopped seeing my therapist, and we all know what happened there. So. I'm a
Yikes.
great believer in therapy. I'm a great believer in people confronting their mental and emotional shortcomings and figuring out and learning tools to be able to fix
But
whatever's
doesn't
wrong.
that require you to share your life with another human being, a disinterested third party in this case? But you know what I'm saying? Like you're
No,
gonna
because
go
it's not the same kind of relationship. It's not the
exactly. So
Yeah.
what's different?
Well, what's different is you said it, disinterested, non-committed, just a sounding board who will sit there. See, I couldn't sit with anyone that I was in a relationship with and then just open up about all the crazy stuff that's in my head and all the things that I think. And look, I'm not a lunatic,
That's what wives are for.
no, yeah, I'm just not comfortable with that, I guess. I guess, with a therapist, I was comfortable. I loved my therapist. Uh
Cute woman.
Do you wanna know the word? No, older woman. She, I'm sure
Still cute, right?
classy, I was probably in my 30s when I was seeing her, and she was probably in her 50s. Real classy, real Ivy League. She was an Ivy Leaguer. I don't know what
Just got
the
cuter.
no well, no, yeah, no, but she was cool, and, she's dead. I found that out.
Great.
Found that out a couple of years
Glad I
ago.
asked. That's great.
Yeah. I got an email from, her practice that, let all of her former yeah. So that
Clients.
kinda sucks when the person you feel like fixed you is dead. It's like, "Well, she's dead. I guess I'll never get fixed again." Not that I was, incredibly fixed then. Anyway,
Well
neither
here
here nor
I got another weird, Pugs juxtaposition.
yeah.
You're an alone guy that was well-kept veal growing up.
An only child, a
Right.
well-kept,
So
well-fed veal.
so much so that, it's affected your ability to have a successful marriage and have super close girlfriends and all that stuff. But in the radio setting, you don't like to be by yourself, you like to be with other people.
Yes. Yes.
So in there, it's I don't know how you become an extrovert when a microphone's involved, but you're such an introvert.
Because this isn't real. This is not real. I can say things here without repercussions that I would have in my regular life. I make a very clear distinction between what happens at 2 o'clock when we sign off here and what the rest of my day will be, and then what these 2 hours are. How do I explain this? Because a lot of people who know me, who have worked with me on the radio, will tell you that I'm the same on the air as off the air, and that is true for the most part. Except that there are a couple of differences, like I will sign off here today at 2 o'clock, and then before I do anything, I will go into the bedroom and I will lay in the bed and I will stare at the ceiling for 45 minutes and do nothing. Like Putty on Seinfeld on a long transatlantic flight. He doesn't read a book, he doesn't do anything. He just stares at the seat back in front of him. That's basically like what I'll do. Um, and I do that for that's a mental health exercise. That is, I don't know how to explain it. I mean, obviously I can't explain it. People can't explain their own. All they can do is kind of try and vent their that they. Hey, I'm not going through. Look, I'm not going through anything. It's not. This is not. I said yesterday was a very bad day. Yesterday was a very bad anniversary in my life. And it didn't really affect me in the moment, other than the fact that acknowledging that this is something that happened drug up a lot of memories and stuff. But today, waking up this morning, this is a different thing. This is the depression that I've suffered. What's happening right now is that I feel that the next 2 days of my life are going to be steeped in the depression that I've been dealing with since I'm 13 years old, or however. Totally unrelated to the events of yesterday. Yesterday was just a sad anniversary. People don't seem to understand that when you suffer from uh, uh, depression, in my case, that it's like, don't give him bad news, he'll fall into a depression. I mean, that may be the case for some people, but that's not the case for me. There's no rhyme or reason as to when my brain chemistry decides to go, there's no reason for this, everything is going to get worse, nothing will get better. I mean, that just starts to happen. It just starts to happen. It's not triggered by anything. So yeah, I mean, but we are now living. When I was younger, I used to get into fights. When I was younger, when I was in my 20s or even younger, the way it manifested itself was that I would go out with my boys and I would get rip roaring drunk and I'd get into fights, or I'd do things that were crazy. Man, that dude's crazy, man. He's a party animal. No, those were all manifestations of what I now as an adult know is my dark traveler, my dark friend. And thankfully, I'm not like a murderer or anything because, that could have manifested itself in other ways. Instead, mine just manifests itself in, you're a loser. You are such a, it's like that's my thing. I don't want to go out and kill prostitutes, which is good, thankfully, because that would really have been a problem for me by this point.
That
Yeah,
sounds awful, by the way. I don't have that. I don't have that.
no, people, no, a lot of, well, look, thankfully, a lot of people don't. I mean, I don't know. I didn't know my father, so I don't know if he had it. The type of thing that I have is negotiable. I can. It certainly doesn't have to be debilitating, especially when you have the tools to work with it, and I do have the tools. Although I'll tell you this, I used to take pills. My therapist had me on these pills. I hated these pills. They were awful. They made me feel terrible. So what I did was, based on the advice of a number of people who I respect and who know this stuff, I started using marijuana in place of pharmaceuticals. And smoking marijuana 15 years ago at night was a way that I would get good sleep. It would alter where I was in my head. As a matter of fact, instead of being completely falling down the bunny hole of my head, I could sit and I could binge watch an entire HBO series, and that would take me away. But man, I'll tell you, in the last 4 months since moving back here, weed was legal in Illinois. So it was, I could just go to the store and get whatever I wanted anytime I wanted. But when I moved down here, uh, the artist, he quit. He stopped completely. He just went now, and this is not to say that never again. No, just to see if he could. And he's going on almost 2 years at this point of nothing. So I didn't want to move into the 1%er compound. You don't want to go to a guy who's abstaining from weed and going, "Hey, I'm new in town. You got a guy?" I didn't want to bring up that whole thing. So I just quit. And for the last couple of months, I have been completely learning how to traverse the pitfalls of my dark traveler without the aid of any pills or anything. And it's working. It's working. And this coming on like this and talking about it and just, being upfront about it, crazy how well that works. It really does work. It really does. You hear everybody saying you shouldn't be ashamed to talk about, whatever it is that you have. Well, I have depression and I'm not ashamed to talk about it. And actually talking about it to a group of people who I don't give a shit how they judge me doesn't adversely affect me. In fact, it has the opposite.
See, my wife carries around some little anxiety complex where she doesn't like want to kill herself or think she sucks. She's just worried about, okay, what's coming next? What's about to happen? And the second she solves a worry, she just goes on to, okay, what's the next thing I can worry about? And then she starts worrying about it. So that's what she does. And I look at both of y'all and I don't understand because I don't have either one of those. And I just tell my wife, can't just stop worrying. Can't you just stop? She's like, no. And so, like, with your depression, it's like you start to feel like you're a loser or whatever. Just stop. Just think, no, I'm not. I'm doing pretty good.
It's hard to verbalize how you feel. Throwing the word loser out there is just sort of a simple little word that I get, but that's not necessarily how it feels. I do not have anxiety. I do know people who have anxiety. Anxiety is different than depression. Some people have the full boat. Some people have both of them.
Both?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I don't
I
know
think
how
it's
that.
dated then. Yeah.
I mean, depression is the sads. Depression is it. And what is really upsetting is that there are just people who refuse to understand that this isn't a made up thing. This is a brain chemistry thing. This is a
Mhm.
very real thing about what's firing off in your brains and how that makes you feel. So the idea, just pull yourself up by your bootstraps, that's pretty insulting and overly simplistic. That people don't really get. How does a guy like Chris Cornell, one of the coolest dudes in rock history, how does that dude just decide he's going to suck on a bullet one night, right? I mean,
Life's too
obviously,
tough. I'm such a loser. I don't deserve to go on. I mean, I just did
right,
Soundgarden and Audio Slave, so
right.
that's not good enough.
Good looking, beautiful wife and all that stuff. And I would also say for anybody that's concerned about, me openly talking about this, you just brought something up. The whole, I'm going to kill myself. I'm going to kill myself. That is not an option. It's not to say that that isn't a thought. That is something that haunts I mean, there was a time a few years ago where I used to just mutter to myself, "I'm gonna kill myself today. I'm gonna kill myself today. I'm gonna kill myself." And that's just how you feel in the moment. But I can tell absolutely everyone who cares about me, that's not an option for me anymore. My kid is 12 years old. The very idea, I mean, even when I get that thought of checking out, I mean, I think about him, and I the great thing about my relationship with my son is that there is no doubt that he loves me. There is no doubt that he needs me. There is no doubt that that would devastate him. So for that, maybe when he gets 30, he's got a wife and kids,
You'll check
uh,
out.
I'll be grandpa for a couple of months, and then I'll go, yeah, you know what? It's really hard for me to walk up steps now. Yeah,
Yeah, my
I don't
back
see any
hurts.
upside. My
I'm
back
tired.
is really killing me. So I mean, it's always an option down the road, but it certainly cannot be an option while my mother is still alive and while my son is still forming his worldview. I need to be around to fill his head with all kinds of garbage before I check out. So
Yeah, I have like an exception to that rule though. Like if I get in a car wreck or I don't know, get some straight up polio and I can't perform anymore, like my marital duties, I'm checking out right then.
but that's it.
Yep.
When you can no longer bang, you're gonna check out
Later,
regardless of
there's no reason for me to be
right?
here. Better
That
off
is
dead. I have
that's
life insurance. You'll be fine.
that's a unique take. That's a good take. I guess.
Well, I just don't want
Um,
to live through like 40 years of, oh man, that is so beautiful. I wish I could. Nope, I can't. Because your body's still going to tell you you want to do it, and
so
you're never going to be. It's like always being hungry but never getting to eat food.
you don't have you don't have any issues either spiritually or I mean, about the notion of ending one's own life, about checking out when you. I think it's a human right. I mean, I really do. I think that that's the one. And people say you're a coward for killing yourself. Man, I don't think that's cowardly.
No, it's fine.
I
Morally
think
speaking, it's usually fine. I mean, there's times when it's not, but
yeah. The cowardly thing I wanted to address just so it's not misconstrued. Somebody who puts a gun in their mouth and pulls the trigger on themselves is not a coward. That is like the bravest, not bravest in the way that it's glorified, not brave the way we love our soldiers in war and all that stuff, but sincere. It is the ultimate act of sincerity. You know what you're doing in that moment, and you've decided to do it. Now, cowardly is probably the wrong word to use because you could also probably use better sense. Better sense might creep in and you won't do it. But I always get upset when people find themselves in that situation and they choose to end their own lives and people call them cowards. I'm like, man, that's exactly the kind of attitude that probably led to them doing this in the first place. There needs to be more understanding of what people are going through.
well, there was a guy that was busted for diddling kids around here not too long ago, and he went and jumped off a bridge,
There you go.
so he wouldn't have to go to jail or anything. Thought that was pretty cowardly. I'm glad he's dead, and
Well,
the outcome is
yeah.
kind of what I hoped for, but sort of cowardly. Context is everything in these.
Yeah, that's I'm gonna say,
Right.
man, that's not the same thing as someone who has suffered from crippling depression their whole life who decides that they don't
Not
wanna
the
put
same
up with
thing,
it
but
anymore.
context. That's my point. Is context is
I'm fine
everything.
with that. You're a
No.
child molester, you do some horrible stuff to society at large, and you wanna check out because you can't live with the guilt of what you've done, go for it, brother. The world would be a better place without you here. You've done your thing. You've
Well,
already
conversely, if you hear that I've gotten in a car wreck and I'm in a wheelchair and they don't know if I'll ever walk again, just float me a text like, "Hey, can I have your truck?" You know,
Was it the one you wrecked? I don't want the one you wrecked. I
oh,
want
right.
yeah,
No, it's probably
yeah.
my wife's car.
No, look, you ever wanna check out, give me a call. I'll come over, we'll talk it through, we'll workshop it, we'll figure out
Oh, yeah,
what's the
this is a good
best
mic.
way.
This is a $300 microphone right here. You can
Yeah,
have this.
okay, I'll take not look, I don't wanna pick the bones, I don't wanna be an emotional vulture here. There's no need for me to already although I do like some of that stuff you've got on your back wall.
Mhm.
Your archives, I want your archives. Can I have that? And I'll make sure that anything that's pertinent your kids can listen to in a couple of years when they're older. But give me all of the stuff that you've compiled from anything that concerns me, because you seem to have way more stuff that concerns me than I.
I do, but I mean, Do you really want me to be spreading the Gruden tapes over here?
Uh, do
There
you
are words that were said
yeah.
that would not fly as freely
Yeah.
if,
Alright,
in the modern
let
context.
let's get out of this deep human conversation that we've
Well,
been
it
having here.
started because divorced people are working together, and that's weird. Like, immediately divorced people who were working when they were married got divorced and continued to work together. That's where this all started, and that is weird.
It is odd, and just from my own personal experiences, I don't see how that could end up being successful in the, you know what I mean? Like, at least in the first 18 months. It took me a while to get over the garbage of both of my ended relationships. Took and I would think that maybe it took them a while as well. But yeah, I certainly wouldn't wanna show up to work every day with somebody that you're very angry at for
Hey, um, on a scale of 1 to 10 on Wednesday, how drunk was the wife and her BFF?
11, they were
Right.
wasted. They were completely trashed.
They couldn't
Uh,
even follow.
your wife, was holding it together far better than Steph was. Stephanie was sloppy. She was sloppy, fall down drunk. Your wife was more in the category of fun drunk. Fun, she ain't driving home, but, she can still hang and party a little bit longer. The other one needed a bed. The other one needed
Yeah.
to find a place to lay down. So but that was nice. It was nice to have that little, different kind of show.
I mean, is that okay if I bring drunk chicks on the show?
Absolutely, I told you it's open, don't worry about it, and, it's we'll navigate it. I mean, and I will tell you if, if it's getting I'm pretty direct. I'll say, "Okay, get rid of him, Jay." I mean, I'll tell you if it's getting to the point where but I probably won't get to that point because that's what the Pillow Talk show is about. The Pillow Talk show is just whatever. Anything happens, we have a couple of,
Well, I'm thinking next time we have drunken participants, we gotta turn them into stunt monkeys, make them do something.
yeah,
They're
alright,
open to suggestion.
whatever. I'm looking at stuff that is trending again. There's nothing good. Edger and James is trending. I mean,
The great Colts running back, right.
why is he trending? Yeah.
All right, I'm
Uh,
gonna go play with my kids then. You wanna just shut it down early?
yeah. I was thinking, yeah, man, go ahead. I'll wrap it up here. I appreciate you coming by. Bitcoin is trending. I
Thanks
don't know
for having me.
something about that. All right,
Go
James. There he
Cowboys.
goes. James Parker joining us for the past 45 minutes.
Go Cowboys.
Getting me to open up about all that stuff. There he goes. Okay, thank you, James. All right, yeah, we're gonna shut it down a little bit early today. I feel like we got a little bit sidetracked, talking about all the mental health stuff and crazy. But I'm fine. You don't have to worry about it. Part of the reason that I'm fine is because I am talking about it. I am talking about, and I don't want any of you people who are my friends to call me and check in. And that's not how this works. Don't do that. I'm fine. I was just trying to express how I woke up this morning and it was kind of a weird, I can feel it coming on. And it's a good thing that I got a couple of days off because by the way my mind works and the way this whole thing I deal with, I'll be fine by Sunday night. And Sunday night is when we'll get back here and we'll do our Pillow Talk edition. We'll have a full boat show. We'll have E the artist back with us. James will be back with us. And I promise you it'll be a little bit more fun. I hope at the very least this was slightly interesting, maybe a bit revealing. Although, yeah, I guess it's people who've listened to me over the years knows that this is no big breaking secret. Okay, what else can we do here? Yeah, I guess that's it. Oh, it is the 15th. We do accept donations on the show. So if you would like to tip the show, help us out in any way possible, you can go right there. You see down there, Pugs Moran on Venmo and PayPal. We accept all tips, $5, $1, whatever it is that you want to give. And you could also use the Cash App. On Cash App, it's $PugsCast. Cast on Pugs app. So appreciate anything you can do to help us keep this thing running. But again, it's not required. So many of you have been so kind, and you've certainly kept this thing afloat for the first few months that we've been doing it. It'll be my hope that at some point we won't have to rely on your tips and your friendly gestures. But as of now, we still do. So thank you so much, and we're gonna be back on. Is there anything else I need to mention? No, that'll be it. Okay, I love y'all. I love you. You guys that are here every day, I see some of the same people. You guys are just wonderful. You make me feel better when the rest of the world is just making me feel like a shitheel. So thank you, folks. We'll see you back on Sunday night at 10 o'clock for the Pillow Talk edition. This has been a highly irregular edition of the High Noon Pugs and Company broadcast here exclusively on the Radio